Jay, you there? Hello.
Yeah. Hey,
Hey,
boys, how are you?
good? How you doing?
Oh, super. Just, just
Anything?
working, just working. I
Yeah.
thought you'd have an introduction like Lewis always does.
I just kind of get started. I say hello to people. I welcome them aboard. But since you're here, we can be
Right,
little more
more
relaxed.
cash.
Yeah.
That's right. That's
Well,
right.
thank you
That's
for
right.
putting this pin up together for us to work on tonight.
No worries.
Jay's got the Guinness.
I thought I could angle it right. Well, everybody knows what's going on. Everybody knows what's going on here.
I mean, we've done it 100 times, so I would hope so.
Right there we are. That's my that's my icon
It's
right
a
there.
good angle. And no, they're not
Perfect.
paying us.
Unless they want to.
That's true. We wouldn't turn away a sponsorship from Guinness should they be like, "Hey, this comic podcast looks like a great marketing idea for a
Yeah, right.
giant
Let's
corporation."
see. We can go with the multi-million-dollar soccer team or these two talking about friggin' Bugs Bunny.
Yeah, yeah. I guess I'll give people just a quick. I put a thing in the bio just that Jay, I've known forever. We went to college together. Jay's worked on Archie comics. His works appeared in Image Comics. He's worked on the Wally comics with me and like a zillion other projects. So I know Jay's work well, I would say.
Yeah. Mm.
Um,
So,
and And so we've got your pin up here, Jay. So do you want to just give us, I don't know, just what your thoughts were going in, what your intent was, maybe just
oh,
like
geez, dude, I don't know.
overall,
I everything I do is me trying to rip off Bertie Ryson.
okay, all right. So because when I think of your work, I do think of more stylized artists. I think of like Mark Oakley and Bruce Timm,
Oh yeah.
and I tend to think of because like the first time, I used to look at. Good evening, Jonathan. Hey, Michael.
Hey,
Uh,
bud.
First time you showed me Thieves and Kings, like it just clicked for me.
Oh, yeah. Oh yeah. That is definitely not an Ian book.
Well, no, well, I mean,
That is.
it informed me so much about your work because clearly, like that
Yeah.
had a huge impact on you.
Oh yeah. Massive impact. Absolutely massive.
Yeah,
This is a book that nobody will know what we're talking about.
yeah.
Absolutely nobody.
Thieves and Kings is a Canadian art. Mark's a Canadian guy, right?
Yeah. He was a Canadian guy. He comes out with like one book every like 6 years. It's ridiculous. Very,
But,
very underground, very indie.
but still,
Still rocking the black and white movement type
did
of
you
thing.
find it new off the shelf or like in a dollar bin?
I kind of got a pack of it at Harrison's Comics in Salem.
Oh, okay.
Uh, I got a pack of the first like 12 issues for like $10 in Salem.
Yeah, I mean those readers packs,
Salem,
like that's what they're designed for, is to get people like
exactly.
reading the books.
Yeah. And again, like as a, I was learning about D&D at the time and reading a shit ton of crappy fantasy novels that nobody likes, and just being like a friggin' weirdo. But also being from the inner city, that book really hit me in a way that few other books really could.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I don't mean to be that specific, but like, that's what it is.
Yeah, yeah.
You guys know.
So when I look at this piece, I see that you used two or three different types of pencil lead,
Yeah,
um, and you have your construction lines here. So I'm trying to pick out what all of the right lines are and sorting them out from the construction lines. So that's kind of like what the inking process and finishing process will be, because I want to keep it looking like your work and
Right.
overpower it. The only thing that I will overpower, Jay, and I'm not going to let it slide, is
Yo.
the word ancient.
Yeah. I was just.
I know.
You know, I got to point out real quick. I don't know who's watching this right now, but when you're doing indie stuff, you do so much of it alone.
Yeah.
You know
Yep.
what I mean?
No,
And like,
totally.
I would have looked at that, and I would be like, "Oh man, I really fucked that up. I'm gonna
Easy with the
fix that
language
on the
tonight,
computer."
buddy.
Oh, sorry.
It's all right.
I really screwed that up.
But
I need to fix that on the computer.
you probably would have caught it when you put it into Photoshop or whatever. But
Yeah,
I did
exactly.
take the opportunity to maybe show something I haven't shown on here, is drafting handwritten letters in a way that is a little bit more formal. And that's just
Yeah.
using, and you design the sign, so I'm trying to keep the sign of your design here, with the curved corners, like a Western sign or a plaque, so it looks fancy.
Yeah.
And the way I did that was I boxed it out, I measured the size it needed to be, put in a rectangle on the inside that was the same size, and then measured in, because this is a beveled ruler, it's got the grid on it, 1/8 of an inch. And then I used my circle template and put it plumb to the corners so that we could get flush corners on there.
Right.
And then I just moved it in 1/8 of an inch, and then another little 1/16 of an inch, and that got that like runner on the inside.
I gotta tell you, like, so many little things are fixed on Photoshop. It's not even funny.
Oh
You
well,
don't
and
even
if I
think about it.
well yeah, and honestly, if I would have easily seen you if you were publishing this in like gritty or the Sleepless or whatever, you would have blacked this out and just typed it in.
Exactly. I would
Yeah.
have. It's always like you think you can freehand it until you actually look at it,
Yeah.
and you're like, oh, right.
Yeah, it's tough.
That's a big problem. Yeah, right. You
It's
think
not
you can
easy.
pull it off until you're actually looking at it.
Because you got to also think about like keeping a consistent font by hand, knowing all the
Yeah,
proportions of your letters and keeping those consistent. It takes a lot of time and concentration just to write freaking wonders of ancient Egypt in a consistent font.
yeah, right,
And that's just one
right.
little bit. I
Yeah,
mean, that's
it
uh,
really ties the room together, though. I really needed a sign on.
now.
Yeah.
And
So
when I looked at these characters, I just want to make sure I'm reading everything right. And you can tell me, this is the shoulder of the monster coming out, and then this is the
yeah,
head, and then this is the neck, and then this is like his knee.
yep,
What's this dark
that's
patch? Is
exactly what
this
I was going to say. What?
what's this dark patch
Oh,
down here?
yeah. I was thinking that he was wearing some type of like armor on his
Okay,
shins
okay.
for some reason.
Nope, I can see it.
Yeah,
I
something
see
like
it
that.
now. There it is.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. I can't specify it enough. Like, if I was inking something you did, it would definitely be like, okay, I know what he's kind of thinking, and I think I know what he's doing. You know what I'm saying. Everybody knows what I'm saying, right? How
Well,
many people are on tonight?
maybe we'll do that next in an upcoming show.
Oh no, we're not going to do that next time. We're not going to
Is
do
this the
that.
thumb right here? Like these are the 3 fingers right here, and this is the fourth one.
Yeah.
And then is this the
If it
thumb kind
feels like a thumb, then if it feels like a thumb, it must be a thumb.
of? I'm trying to keep the J energy.
Yes, right. I don't know. You know how like a zombie has kind of like a hook hand, or like it's all crumpled up or something?
Well, I just yeah.
Anybody anybody know what I'm talking about? Anybody know what I'm referring to?
And in this, he's got kind of
Maybe.
like his hands are kind of like the fingers are bent, You know, his thumb's coming
Yeah,
underneath there.
exactly,
Hey, there we go, Dennis
exactly.
Dietrich. If it feels like a thumbs to thumb, that's what she said.
Hey, 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 that's my line, sir.
So
Don't you
was your
just be
main light
stealing my
source
kind
like, I'm seeing some lines here. Your main light source, this flashlight?
of. Yeah, yeah,
Because
I
it looks
believe
like there's
so.
a flare that comes out from the flashlight.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That must be my main light source.
Okay.
Um,
Just based on, like,
you
where
know,
this is and then where you had your shadows up here. And where
yeah, I just lean heavily on shadows doing its own thing, kind of
yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
I should probably map it out a little bit better,
Well,
but
that's it. I have the added bonus of having you here, so you can help talk me through it. Because like when you're collaborating with another artist, sometimes you never get to talk to them. They just send you a drawing and you
sure,
have to do something with it.
that's very true. Like,
So
it,
I've got another. What is
I
this?
tried to make it as concise as. If you saw my videos I posted today, anyone who was interested enough in watching them, me rabbling about me trying to make it as readable for Ian,
Well, you
because
always
I
say. I
know that.
mean, I've always said that one of your strengths, your best strengths, is your layouts. Because like overall, like you've got a foreground,
Oh,
middle
thank
ground, background. There's good layering. You've got a clear sense of figures. I mean, there's no question as to what the scene is being communicated. Like I know exactly where you're going with it. I'm just
you. Yeah.
noodling through like this line here. Like I'm seeing him emerging from the crypt, but I don't know what this chunk is here.
Oh, let me see.
Is this like
The other side of the crypt. I think that's the other side of the crypt.
the other side of the crypt? So where is it hinging?
He's emerging from the crypt, and the crypt is at like a slight angle, I guess. Was that what I was thinking?
I don't know.
Jeez.
Okay,
Just
so if that's the case, then I'm just gonna connect the line here so that you can see it under his armpit or whatever.
yeah.
Actually, I don't
Okay.
think you will see
Yeah.
it. I
Yeah.
see what you're. I see it. Okay. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
I got it.
Again, who's ever listening to this is a lot more complicated than you think, because when you're doing it yourself, you can read the image in your own head better than somebody else could to a degree. Does that
Yeah.
make
Exactly.
sense? Like,
No, that's a great point, Jay. And you know what you know what all the intent is because you've got it all like you've got all the ideas, you've got the thought process, the construction. Like you've been steering the ship, and you've been doing it so long that you have all these shortcuts built into your own work that I don't necessarily know.
right. Well, everybody does that. Isn't
They
that
do.
funny?
They
You're
do.
right. Oh my god. So as a weird promotional aside, I got into the thought in my head, I am gonna do this live on video. I'm gonna hold my phone and make a little video of my process of doing that piece. And it uh it by by video 5, it was really falling apart. It was really falling apart. At
Dennis asks,
the end.
is Sinug sponsoring the 100th show? Guinness spelled backwards?
the by video 5, I'm like, how the fuck does Ian do this? Talk about nothing. Fucking English. Get inventing gayness.
Just using
Oh, it
words,
was a
man.
terrible.
Just words. Does
Yeah,
this
really.
guy over
I don't
here,
know
can
how. I'm sorry.
this one over here, can you see his eye? Is that like part of a skull that you see
Well,
through?
you can do that however you want. I was just kind of going for kind of like a characteristic personality to it,
Gotcha.
more than a like a final line. If you feel like altering something, alter.
Well, no, I'm trying to keep the essence of J preserved and just finish it. That's all.
Yeah, no, I hear you. I hear you. It's very weird to team up on something like this because, again, so much of it's in your head already. I'm trying to explain that to everybody else, like everybody who kind of is listening to this.
Yeah, we got, I don't know, we got 15 or 20 people in here right now
Jesus.
across all the
Who else is
platforms.
drinking? Oh God.
Because if,
Who else is drinking tonight?
if somebody's on one of the platforms and they only see anywhere from 1 to 5 people, there's like 4 other platforms and you add them all together.
It's God. Yeah. That sounds like a real treat.
So if
It's
you,
not that I don't. Hmm?
I was going to say, so if you were
Uh,
inking this, you would start probably, I see this looks like a pen, and then there's some brush in here.
yeah.
How
Yeah.
would you have attacked it?
Oh, jeez.
And yes, Dennis J is from Boston. That is safe to assume.
Are you not aware? Are you being sarcastic?
I think he's just pulling your leg.
Oh, all right, all right.
He's
I'm not sure. You know, it's funny. When it comes to inking, I try to maybe think of like what's the spot I want to do the least.
Oh, really?
It would be yeah. What's the first part that I want to do the least? Oh, well,
For me, that
firstly, I always
no. Go ahead.
sorry. Well, the first thing I kind of do is I always kind of black out the large black areas and then start kind of cross hatching from there.
Hmm.
So I'm
Interesting.
kind of going outwards in, I
Yeah.
guess. I never really I never really thought about it that much. It's kind of like do you ever really concentrate on walking? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. Like that's hard to say. I guess.
I don't know. I feel like starting right here.
Go nuts. Follow your dreams, eh?
Look where our dreams have gotten us, Jay.
Yeah, right. 20 people that listen to us forever. I mean, come on.
We've gotten some comments. He's enjoying.
And,
Dennis says he enjoys the collaborative process. Mike said hello earlier. I would imagine Mike is drawing, so he's usually working. Jonathan's in
right.
the room. Um, we usually have a fair number of what I call our lurkers, and it was funny when we were at one of the shows last year. I had
Mm.
a group of 3 people come up to me whom I'd never met before, tell me that they were regular watchers and that they never comment and that they were some of the lurkers. So that was pretty funny.
And again, I'm not. People say that I'm fun to be around at the cons and such, but like, I am so antisocial. I really have no idea how you do this sort of thing.
Well, I mean, I think I think you sell yourself a little short at cons because like I think that you do a terrific job of promoting your work while you're there and you're engaging,
Sure,
and because you're so engaging, you know, some people will be put off by that, but you always get your work in front of people, and that's the whole
sure.
point of.
I have a good 7 minutes of personality.
You got a tight 7, yeah.
That's right. I have a tight 7, and I got nothing after that.
Well, and
After that, nothing.
when we are next to each other or whatever, we can usually stretch it out a little bit.
Oh yeah, we can riff pretty well.
Oh, there it is. Jonathan quoting, "Dude, I need gas money." One of the classic J maneuvers. So we've got
Yeah.
another person backstage who's going to say hello. My friend Douglas Paskovich, who we all know from Arsenic Lullaby and The Tick, Mad Magazine. So it's
Hey, Doug, how are you?
Can you hear me okay?
Yep. Hey, Doug.
Hey, it's working.
It is. You did it.
I found everything. Boys, I just want to say 7 minutes. It's a long time to talk to one person that you
This
don't
is true.
know nor care about. So I give it. If you can last 7 minutes, that's a long time. 2 minutes and I'm out. You either want it or you don't. Get lost.
Well,
Yeah.
you have a different approach completely. You just put the book in their hand and are like, if you're going to like this like, and you have specific passages that you know that are like your litmus test for Arsenic Lullaby.
Yeah. Well, I think with most work, it either grabs you or it doesn't. You know, we don't have to be buddies.
Yeah.
Let's just move this along.
If you don't want to give me any of your money, that's okay.
Yeah, this ain't a library, and I'm not a counselor. I'm not a bartender. Uh, Just
I'm trying to sell you my pamphlet.
here's the book. Here's what I put work into. I didn't put work into developing a personality. Put my work in developing a comic book. So look at this and see if this speaks to you. And if not, have a nice day.
Well, because the work is good.
Bought your book from at Mice. Were you
What's
at
that?
Mice?
Doug, did you do Mice, or maybe was it just somebody had your book there?
What's Mice?
That's the Massachusetts Independent Comics Expo.
No, I don't. No, I don't think I've ever been to Massachusetts.
Okay. All right. It probably. I would make
Definitely
you a bet. I'd make you a bet, Jay, that Tony had it because he usually has all the good indie books at his booth.
Yeah, right.
Tony runs a bookstore called Million Year Picnic in Cambridge, and like he has a whole section of not just locals, but he will get like small press stuff from like all over the country. So like that like takes effort for a shopkeeper to have a section like that.
Well, I wouldn't say it takes effort. Maybe a little vision.
Yeah.
Little prerogative.
Having something other than other than the usual.
Yeah, 60-year-old properties that have been redone 118 times. Maybe I want to try that. Maybe
something different.
Something maybe new.
New-ish.
I don't know. Hey, what do I know? I've only been doing this for 20 years.
And you got a new book coming out.
Yeah.
Is that going to be for Comic-Con?
Yeah, it'll be for Comic-Con. I don't know how many pages it'll be. That'll be up to time.
Yeah.
It'll be up to the calendar and the hourglass on my desk how many pages it is. But
I like your philosophy on this.
What's that?
I like your philosophy.
Yeah, you can only do so much.
Shit, we're good. I like that. You don't even know what you want. Take this.
Yeah, it'll be fine.
Yeah.
It'll work out or it won't. No one's gonna die.
Let's hope not.
Not yet, anyway.
But hey, congratulations on 100 episodes, man.
Thank you very much. You've been to many of them, so thank you for being along for the ride.
In honor of that, and not just because I'm cleaning out my office, but I got a bunch of stuff here that you might want, and I would give it as a gift in commemoration of this fine event.
Are they rusty old drafting tools?
Some of them.
Ooh.
I got some. Hold on a second. I got some of these things.
I got a few of those. I can never turn down more of those.
Give you that. You need one of these?
Oh, what have you got there?
Oh, off! I got mine right here too.
I think this one has a crack in it, but most of them are still good. Want one of these?
I can't turn it down. I mean,
all right, that's yours. How about this? This one here is even smaller.
Oh, wee bitty ones? I need that.
Okay, that's yours. You use any of these things? These French curves?
If you have any large ones, yes. I have lots of small ones.
I think this is the largest one I got.
All right.
Hold on.
How big do you need them?
Honestly, Jay, like looking at this I need one on this drawing that's about this long. That's about,
Oh,
I
yes,
don't know,
right. Ah, yeah,
right.
yes.
Well, this is about 8
6.
inches long.
Well, that would do it. That would do it.
Okay, there you go. This one's the same size. So are those. You're getting all those. I don't know what this thing is. That you're getting that. What else? You need one of these dividers?
What are those?
Little.
Oh, is that a compass?
No, it's a divider. Here. I don't know what they're actually for, but I'll tell you what I use it for. Like if I'm doing, let's say I'm doing a fence, right? Or something where it's equal distance between a whole bunch of objects.
Yeah.
So instead of taking a ruler and putting a little dot for each section, I just go bink, bink, bink. You know what I'm saying?
I'll try that.
All right. Yours.
Oh, crazy.
What else is in here? I know you
will take
these, huh? You like these?
the hard plastic ones.
Yeah.
Those I have. I'm good. Thank you.
You're getting that? Kneading eraser? Those kneadable things?
Yeah, I love those. Love
Those
those.
yours? That's yours? What else is in here?
I'm helping Doug clean out his bin.
These are gifts to commemorate this event, is what this is. What about one of these things? Copic? It's gray.
I actually gave mine to Jay. My whole bin of markers.
Really?
I did because I draw terribly with markers. I found that over the years.
Yeah, I don't like using these. I'll give this to you and you can give that to Jay. There you go.
All right.
Pass it along. Do you need half a dozen or so rapidographs that are dried shut?
As a cautionary tale, maybe.
Huh?
So, you watching last night? No, I watched 3 hours trade shit for the last hour and a half.
You were talking to. Speaking of lettering, though, have you seen one of these?
What do we have here?
School lettering guide set.
What I've been looking for is one of those things that you've got is the perspective swivel sticks.
What?
You know, this perspective like ruler where you can anchor it down, and that's your anchor point, and it like you can get perspective from off of the table.
Oh, a central line aid. One of these things.
Yes, I've been looking for one of those forever.
Yeah, it took me 5 years to find one.
Cheapest.
They don't make them anymore.
Well, they haven't made them in years. Hold on a second. I got a real one. That one I just put out, I made. They're real easy to make. I can show you how.
I just hope that people, the big takeaway of this
fucking camera. There we go. So anyhow, like, look how thin this thing is.
Wow. Yeah.
So not only have they not made them in 40 years, I'm sure they break left and right.
Yeah.
And if you don't know what this is, like if your grandpa died and you just saw this on the work shelf, you wouldn't even know what to call it to put it on eBay.
No, but it is one of those things where when you're gridding stuff out or you've got to get your vanishing points, you know, you have that. We all have it, like that 7-foot metal ruler, you know.
Yeah.
And it's just such an effort to do all of that.
Well, and sometimes I get them that are all the way off the table.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which at that point, I mean, why bother? Just make the line straight. Who's going to notice? But my own neurosis prevents me from doing that.
Have you, Doug? You almost all exclusively pencil and ink all your own work. Have you ever done any work with other folks as far as on a single piece or collaborative stuff where you've inked somebody else or?
let me think. I don't think. Oh, I did one time. I did the inking on a instructional golfing guide.
Over somebody else.
Yeah. They they roughed out, the movements of how to hit a putt and all that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And so I inked it over so that you could actually see it.
So you could read it.
Yeah, so it actually read is how it was supposed to be read.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that comic book wise, I don't think I've ever. No,
Okay.
because I wouldn't want to have to ink my stuff, even though my pencils are fairly tight.
They really are.
I wouldn't put anyone else through that. Like my worst enemy, I wouldn't say, "Here, ink this."
Yeah, you'd have to be a real jerk to have somebody else ink your work.
Yeah, I don't. Let me see if I got something here that'll not spoil anything, but give you an idea.
I don't even remember how many pieces of yours, Jay's, I've finished at this point. It's like we do one like once every year or so.
Pretty much. Pretty much.
Here, can you even let me see? Can you see this or no?
It's a little blurry.
I kind of get it.
In. There it is. Oh,
yeah.
There it is.
So, at certain point when I'm inking, I know what I can just say, F it, good enough. So like the pencils are real tight, but at a certain point you just go, you know what? I don't really need that line. I don't really need that line. This is fine without it. But someone else might feel obligated to go through all of that. And I just, I'd feel guilty. So, I'd also feel nervous inking someone else's stuff, to be honest with you.
And yet you didn't get nervous drawing on like a 70-year-old issue of an EC comic.
Well, that was a challenge. That was fun.
That was impressive.
Because that paper was a nightmare.
Yes.
The paper, it was 70-year-old paper, plus it didn't all deteriorate evenly. So towards the spine, it was like tissue paper, and then in the middle, it was still shiny, and then there was cracks in it and stains. You hit a grease stain on 70-year-old paper. That ink is acting completely different than it did a quarter inch ago.
No, when I saw those, they looked great, and you got them graded so that they were like frames. So yeah, those were crazy impressive.
Oh, thank you. But that was more of my own. That was just like a challenge. And if I ruined that, I didn't really ruin anyone's work. That was mass produced,
Yeah, but 70 years ago, like how many people still have that lying around in their their attic or grandpa's attic?
There are not many. It wasn't easy to find one that was even as good a shape as that, because it was a Mad magazine where the cover was completely blank as like a gag. So that's not really a cover that you take good care of.
No.
If you're a kid, like an EC cover with a monster on it, you're going to take care of that, even if you're just a dumb 5-year-old, because it looks cool. But a cover that's just blank and orange, you don't care.
I mean, I got a Tomb of Dracula out of a dollar bin recently, and it had like kid writing all over it. It's like I feel like I should post it online and be like, "Is this your comic?" and put it out there, because some kid liked it enough to put his name on it several times and kept it for a long time.
Just to make double sure his stupid brother didn't get any ideas.
Right.
This is Scott's. Keep your meat hooks off of Scott's comic book.
I find that shit endearing, honestly. I think that's cute.
I do too, and I also am a fan of finding comics with like date stamps on them, or like I have a destroyed copy of X-Men #1 from the 60s, and it has 5 cents written on it. So like when that comic book came out, it didn't sell, so they wrote 5 cents on it, threw it in a box, and then somebody bought it.
Fantastic.
Well, because back then that was before you could like tear the covers off, where they were taking returns on like the honor system, so they would actually have to return them to get their money back. The newsstands.
Jeepers.
So
Yeah,
someone bought it for 5 cents.
that was the slimiest, one of the slimiest things in comic book distribution is back in the day, like on the newsstand, they send you 20 copies of Amazing Fantasy. And if it doesn't sell, what you do is you tear off the cover, send that back to the distributor, and they refund you for those that didn't sell. But then the scumbags would take them and sell them anyhow without the cover on them.
Oh
like
yeah,
a
and then
nickel.
it was, and then there was a period of time where it was on the honor system, like where they didn't even have to rip the cover. They would just tell them like, "Oh yeah, didn't sell those comics." And I was sitting next to, that was a story that was told to me by Neil Adams, and it was around his era of doing Green Lantern, Green Arrow, and it was just the start of where collectors were starting to get together and sell in like informal ways, and they were selling them out like out of the backs of trucks. And Green Lantern, Green Arrow didn't sell when it came out. It sold through those, we didn't sell them, but we sold them for more, secondary sales that were beginning. But it did not sell well initially off the newsstand.
That's amazing. That's amazing. The honor system in any industry is fraught with peril, but in the comic book industry, forget it.
Yep. Yep.
Nope, they didn't sell. I'd like my money back, please.
Please send me a whole bunch of dimes in an envelope. Send cash, which they used to do.
It's
What's
amazing.
Are we in? You better not say late stage capitalism.
Well, that was just crazy. Like, I mean, there was a lot of that stuff that you used to see in comics, and you can pull one out. They would have you like mail quarters like taped to a piece of paper to buy your 25 seahorses or whatever.
Right. And what it's amazing to me, what recourse did you have in say 1975 if your seahorses never came in?
Or they do come
angry
in.
letter.
There's got to be a seahorse chairman or an oversight committee.
Seahorse oversight committee. You are no longer a official seahorse distributor because we've had too many complaints.
Well, maybe back then the postmaster general was like, on speed dial, like you could talk to him. He'd come riding in on his horse. I heard someone didn't get their seahorses.
You'd have to risk another quarter into a payphone. You feeling lucky? Clink your quarter in there.
Now you get just entering the sunk cost fallacy for brine shrimp.
No, sir. I lost my $1.25 in nickels taped to paper for a Venus flytrap.
Oh, really? I ordered the 100 Army Men.
Oh, I didn't order it, but it was just one of those crazy ones in there. Did the Army Men show up?
They showed up. They were all about the size of a dime.
Tiny,
Perfect.
Super tiny. Which in retrospect was actually just as cool. But, when you think you're getting little green Army Men like in the bag, you're like, man, what a chip. I was robbed. That was a life lesson.
They've ruined my childhood.
Yeah. But now I kind of wish I still had those.
There's a one crazy... goofy... Oh, go ahead, Jay.
The one goofy comic thing I did was, you remember like X-Men issue 1 where they had the phone number in the middle of the book? God, I wish I could remember. They did
X-Men 1?
I wish I could remember this. It was some like hotline number. Do you remember what I'm talking about?
They did a bunch of that type of stuff. Like, you remember you would call in to say whether or not Robin dies.
I was just going to say, I remember that for Batman and Robin. You could vote if the guy dies.
There were like phone adventures where you'd call in to like a 900 number and they'd charge you by the minute, and you'd have to like save Mary Jane from the Insidious 6 with like pressing the right number in order.
Right.
That's pretty risky because you are now a 10-year-old who's one missed dial away from having your whole life changed.
Oh god.
Oh, gee whiz! I just wanted to talk about Captain America. What are you talking about?
I did that at a
You're gonna put what?
Right.
What? You're putting what in your mouth? That's gross. For $2.99 a minute.
$2.99 a minute. In $2.99 a minute in $1990.
Right.
Yeah.
Explain that to your dad.
You made a collect call to who? What the hell's a woman?
You're voting on Robin. Who's Rob? What are you talking about? It's a $40 phone bill.
I had continuity questions. Well, you know, and back in the day, like there were all kinds of that stuff for kids where like there was like the Nintendo tips hotline. Like, how long do you think you could be like keep that kid on the line before his last life dies in Donkey Kong?
Wow, yeah, boy, what a crooked scam that is.
Yeah.
Just slow talking a 10-year-old to run his parents' credit card bill up the
That's
ass.
right. I'm trying to get past the second world in Mario 3. Just use the whistle, kid. It's not cheating.
Well, you want to keep them on the line forever. Which person went home feeling worse at the end of the day? The person who's on the porn hotline keeping some godless virgin on there talking dirty, or the one who's ripping off a 6-year-old?
I would hope it's the 6-year-old. But I can't say for certain.
Well, in one hand, you're dirty talking a complete stranger.
But you're both adults.
Yeah, I guess you're right. The adult knows what he's getting in for. And really, you're running that 6-year-old's money up the bill. There's two victims there. There's the 6-year-old and the parent. So I guess it's double bad when you really look at it.
What a time to be alive and into comics.
Jesus. I don't know how to add to this conversation. I really don't.
Well, we're
All
just
the wind is
harkening back to, you know, when we would go to the rental store, the movie wouldn't be there that we wanted. The second movie wouldn't be there what we wanted, so we left. And then we're looking in the back of comic books for cheap, harmless thrills.
Oh yes. Joe St. Pierre asked me, like, how the hell do you know so much about Valiant Comics? I bought them all in like a dime box. I got like every Valiant comic he worked on for like 25 cents. No shit.
I'm sure
Well,
I
I
loved
remember-
hearing that.
Well, I remember that even the rental place, like we didn't have a Blockbuster in our town. We just had mom and pop shops. They used to sell comic books there that were repackaged. So like, and they were not that old. So it's basically like the comics that didn't sell 6 months ago. They'd put in a pack for $4 and you'd get like a stack of them.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, well, they used to have that at like Kmart and stuff too. Those 3-packs.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah, I got lots of those. Which, of
Mm.
course, you tear open and make sure, you tear a bunch open and make sure you got the 3-pack that you wanted.
you had to stack the deck. Somebody watch for the attendant coming by.
Keep your eyes peeled for that clerk. See.
Yeah. Don't do this at home, kids.
Or do it. Who cares?
Yeah, well, if you can find a 3-pack now that's sealed, you're probably better off leaving it sealed.
Yeah. They did them for a little while at Walmart. I know that because they had like DC did those exclusive books only with Walmart. And then those didn't sell out. So obviously they repackaged them and tried to sell them that way.
Yeah, but who the hell goes to Walmart for comics?
Well, that's the thing is you don't want your, like, even I don't want my comic book completely destroyed. So who buys anything from Walmart not expecting it to have been touched by a bunch of scumbags?
I go
Well,
into
and
Walmart.
when I was a kid, there wasn't a comic store in town, and there's not. It's not like you could get them at a 7-Eleven. So I don't know. I would assume in certain places that might be one of the only ways you can get them.
I go to
Yeesh.
Walmart for things.
I'm worried where this is going to go.
It's like at cars and a microwave pizza that will stay in my colon for 10 years. Those are the three things I go to Walmart for. A regular size light bulbs for chucking, shitty pizza.
I do think I actually did I was at a convention at one point, and the table that they provided did not have a tablecloth. And I believe I did go like a block over and went to a Walmart and bought like a $10 tablecloth. And I think that's still the tablecloth in my kit.
Walmart has saved me at cities. When I'm in a different city at a con, it has saved me so many times.
Yeah.
Just for you can get anything there. Okay, I need duct tape. I need jumper cables. I need a tablecloth.
Zip ties. Nothing about this is weird at the checkout.
Right? Yeah. No,
Nothing is
you're the most reasonable person in line.
I need a hacksaw that can cut through a human torso. What do? I work at Mad Magazine.
Aisle 5. They don't even blink. It's just aisle 5.
They don't even care. Well, you own a belt. You must be a professional. Boy, I can think of 2 times when I ended up getting a tire there because I got a flat tire.
Going to a show?
Going to a show out in the middle of nowhere, 3 o'clock at night. And this was back when Walmarts were open 24 hours a day.
I mean, I got to ask, was it just the tire, or did you get the candy bar at the checkout too on the way out?
Yeah, I think I got a Snickers bar and some gloves. Because that wasn't the only thing that had gone wrong with the car. So I needed my energy, and I needed to show up at the convention not covered in grease.
Crazy. There was a convention in, I actually think it was Boston. Do you remember this, Jay? One year there was like a Kinko's across the street, and I don't know what happened, but like a whole bunch of people either didn't get their luggage or something didn't get delivered, and like half the artists were across the street trying to get prints done before the show started.
Oh, that used to be the case all the time.
Yeah.
The closest Kinko's to the convention center was full of college kids trying to run out a line of mini comics.
Yeah.
Yeah, that could go, honestly. I hate to tell you. I don't remember that offhand.
I just remember it because it wasn't just like the local folks. It was like the bigger named guests that were also in line. So like Jim Starlin standing in line behind the guy that does like, Pizza Man or whatever.
Right. Some kid with his slice of life comic behind Tim Vigil has the most horrific poster you'd ever imagine. just the clerk at Kinko's having his mind blown.
He's just like, I don't get paid enough for this. Or is he like, I'm totally going to click the button that says store this image for later.
Right.
For reasons.
Probably both. This is the most disgusting thing I ever seen. I can get money selling this once you're gone.
Yep.
I wonder how much valuable, you think all the valuable art that was destroyed in the golden age, by editors and stuff, back when they would just shred it so it couldn't get reprinted by anyone else. But I wonder how much valuable art has been left at Kinko's by professionals in a hurry, just running off some prints, and they leave the original under the glass in the machine.
I'm not going to say who it is, but I know one person who inked a cover and left it there, like and went back 2 hours later, and it was gone.
Oh.
Like they got paid for the gig, but like obviously you lose the original, you lose like half your income.
Yeah.
That's heartbreaking. I left a page at a Kinko's, but it was early in my career where I was going to get, well, maybe I'll get $40 for it. So it still sucked, but now it would hurt way more.
Oof.
Oh, absolutely. I mean,
And
and cover up.
it was a single page story. So that's money right there.
Yeah, a whole story.
Yeah. But like you said, I was back within the hour, gone.
Ugh,
So
that
we
sucks.
probably, how many stories like that are there? How many pages have been ended up in the hands of clerks at Kinko's?
And how many of them were they just like, I don't even know what this is. It's going in the shredder with all these business reports.
Right. Just,
Or I don't care what this is.
yeah, exactly. You're in the bin with the black and white photos of the family reunion and last year's tax forms, and yeah,
Just in the bin.
in the bin.
Cover to action number 7.
Todd McFarlane original.
Well, I do know a couple of people who back in the day, DC used to give tours. So like you would go up and an editor like Carmine Infantino would come out, or one of the office folks would come and take kids around, and they would take, and he still, I don't know if he still has it, but he had it for a long time. He had the person giving the tour picked up a page of Joe Kubert artwork, cut the panels off, and gave one to each of the person on the tour.
Holy shit, that's
Wow.
nuts.
So that was one of those where it's like, wow, because I had heard about it, but like I'd never actually talked to someone who was there. And lots of people in our industry were kids coming in as comic people. And then there was that shift of like old magazine guys running the industry to where like fans took over running the industry. And all those fans would go to New York and they would go on those things and they would go on those little things. But like I'd never met anyone until I had heard this story. And he was like, oh, yeah, no. He just picked it up, pair of scissors, and took care of business.
Wow. My goodness.
You feel like some of them go up somewhere, though. He must have done that hundreds of times.
Exactly. Yeah, no, it was a practice. It was not like a one-off thing. So
No,
who knows?
I haven't seen anything like that on eBay or nothing.
I've seen clipped panels for sale. I do know an inker who is an old school guy. And back in the day, they would sometimes take the original pages, because they used to actually take comics and reprint them at paperback size. And if they didn't want to like redraw anything and they didn't have the money for silver prints, which was a type of reproduction back then, so that you could print from it again, it was like a really fancy photocopy that had silver in the ink. And they were more expensive than original artwork. So they took original stories and they would cut the panels up and then paste them down on the smaller format. So rather than there being 6 panels on a page, there'd be 4 or whatever, or 2 even. And they would do that for a whole paperback. So there are some pages that were originally comic book size, but then they were cut up by the creators, put in paperback form, and then re-released. And then the final form of it was the paperback sized cut up version.
Well, I've seen those. I've seen a lot of Carlton, I think maybe, or Gold Key did a bunch of those trade paper or just paperback size, but I didn't realize they took the originals and cut them.
Well, some of them did. I mean, and you being a Mad guy, you're probably very familiar with all the Mad paperbacks. And I learned a lot of those, like I had a correspondence with Duck Edwing for a while, and he told me about the fact that those were not put out by EC or Mad. Sergio and all the guys had got the licensing to use the name Mad from Max Gaines or Bill Gaines, and they put it out themselves. Like those are self-published books with the license of Mad put out by the original creators. So they actually own all those books. That was good business.
Oh yeah.
And those things sold like crazy.
Yeah, I've got a bunch of them. I remember if you saw that when you were a kid, you grabbed that right away.
Oh yeah, yeah. The Sergio ones, the Al Jaffe ones. I've got a bunch. I got Don's books. If you don't know Don Edwing's work, is most known for the guillotine, the executioner stories. Really dark humor. He also did like a Sherlock Holmes spoof, and he wrote Spy versus Spy for a little bit.
Yeah, he had a really sort of an abstract style, not all the way weird 1950s sideways people, but close.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
It was one of those random occurrences that happens. Like my uncle worked in a bank, and he just was a customer at the bank, and they just struck up a conversation like, "Yeah, my crazy nephew makes comics too," and he just sent me a letter, and we corresponded for a while until right before he passed away.
What are you inking with there that you're holding so close to the edge?
This is a Sable Kiritaki brush pen.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
I'm trying to. Jay told me early on that he was trying to channel his inner Wrightson. So on this mummy character, I'm trying to get that way he used to ink those linear bits on wrappings. So I'm trying to get that feeling.
Looks great.
Thank you.
Looks great. Can you zoom in on that face?
Sure.
Or raise up the paper?
Yes. Our high-tech zoom.
Ah, outstanding.
That's good. That's great inking, Ian.
Thanks,
Yeah,
man.
that's good stuff. Yeah, I wish those Kuretake brush pens were just a little longer, a little more flexible. But I guess if the way it's manufactured, you can only make it so small.
Yeah, I mean, you can put the cap on and pull back, but again, you just have it is thicker than a brush. So.
Yeah.
And some people just don't like the fact that they're shorter, like whether it's these pens or whatever. I mean, I've had people tell me that even though the tip's very similar to the FH tip of the Faber-Castell, just because of the length of it, it throws them off.
Well, there is a balance issue. You get used to the balance of something. Just like if, like a baseball player with a certain ounce bat, you just get used to the balance.
Red Sox got back to 500 yesterday.
Oh, the Brewers just got swept by Philly 3 games in a row. But I don't think
gonna
anybody
happen.
scored more than 2 runs the entire series. It was just a pitching duel, one after the next.
Philly's going to be good this year, though. You can't be too angry about it.
No, if you're going to lose to somebody, I mean, there's no shame in losing to Philly.
Yeah.
Philly and the Dodgers, okay, those are lost. That's a loss, that's a loss, and that's a loss. But the other 145 games, we have no excuse for.
No.
We'll write off this Philly series and the Dodgers. Let's just chalk that up to the hand of fate that they were on the schedule. Are you a baseball fan, Jay?
I'm sorry, what?
Are you a baseball fan?
Not at this exact moment. The season goes on too long. You know what I mean? Right now, all my attention is on the Celtics.
Sure.
I only have the bandwidth for like one professional sports team at a time.
Yeah, I can see that.
Right.
Baseball's your primary sport, though, right, Doug?
Yeah, I think I like baseball most of all. I used to be a bigger football fan, but Brady left, and now I don't care.
Yeah. You've checked out of the NFL.
Yeah.
I
enjoyed the halcyon days of Brady on the Patriots winning by any means necessary and not caring. And then when that went away, I just lost interest.
And everybody just complaining.
They were like WWE heels is almost. When the ref ain't looking, you do whatever you want. The whole crowd saw it. Doesn't matter. You still won.
Hey, when there's no cops around, everything's legal.
Yeah, exactly. You didn't get caught. It didn't happen. Where's my
That's right.
championship ring? Who's got the ring? Me or you? All right, then. Then shut it. Can I see that whole thing, that whole image that you're working on?
I can try to zoom out.
Well, you can click my visual off if you want. It's just an open drawer of crap.
And I'm just a glass of delicious beer.
Try this.
What's this cover for? Or this?
Oh, it's a pinup going in the back of my new book. Just I do an annual black and white comic in my horror comic series
Oh, I
kind of
got you.
thing.
That's as far as she goes.
That's pretty
Comic
good.
stuff.
Here's
Yeah.
the top half, and I redid the lettering on the sign, so I'll do a paste up of this because they left off the T in ancient, and that was driving me nuts.
I hate when that happens.
So I'll take that, I'll ink that in, I'll use a ruler and like the little circle template so that it matches his design, but it's just centered, cleaned up a little bit. But yeah, and then there's like this, what looks like a column, and then there's some like molding, and then like this is the sarcophagus. So I want to, if I'm going to be doing like little symbols, I either want to make it so that they are actual things, or I ink it in such a way as to where like they're kind of, if not blurry, just obscured. Because if we're going to use just nonsense, I don't want it to be as obvious.
Ian, you can
Yeah.
as you can doll that up however you wish. I'm not too.
But yeah, I'm just trying to make sure that we're pay attention to the main light source of this flashlight. Jay did the inking here and at the top. I might, because this is the light source, just tailor. He shows where he wants the drop shadow off of the figure, but it's got a soft edge, so I might just harden that up so that it matches, the head, so that you can tell that it's a drop shadow of this character. And then just tighten up a little bit on the fingers, just so that it reads hand. He leaves his construction lines. He usually finishes his own stuff, so there are some decisions that have to be made. And I still want it to look like Jay's stuff, so like I'm trying to keep those design elements that, he uses simplified noses and like very symbolic looking eyes and ears and stuff, the way he abstracts some certain things. So,
Indeed.
When you ink, Jay, what do you use to ink those? If you were inking this,
drawn pens, but big areas, and I have various size brushes as well. I could
okay.
yeah, if you got an ink
literally.
piece nearby, you can show off so he can get some reference. I would describe Jay's inks as having like a juicy quality to it. Really organic. I've always said that Jay's strength, I think, is his layout. I think that he's very good at it. You can read wherever it's foreground, middle ground, background, and everything. I always can read where things are going, and like his influences are cartoons, and like more like Mark Oakley of Thieves and Kings, Bruce Timm, or like Hanna-Barbera. He's taking those types of frames in his head and trying to apply his characters to it.
Yeah. I really like that layout. And it is almost a Warner Brothers ish layout in the sense, like you said, there's 3 areas of depth.
Yep.
It's a very old school cartoon way of doing it.
Yep.
I like that.
Yeah.
Ian, is anybody else? Are you crackly in anyone else's ears or just mine?
No, mine too.
Oh, we hear people saying static. So what I'll do is I'll do that back and forth reset that I do sometimes, so it will just go off for a second. Hopefully, fingers crossed, computer is helpful, so I'll try to do the fix. Hang tight.
Okay.
So what's the name of the book, Jay? And what's that? Is that image directly from a story that's in that book?
No, again, it's a horror anthology series called Sleepless. It's like Tales from the Crypt if it takes place in a city, Boston. I'm
gotcha.
from the city, so why it is that way. I like an abstracted corpse. I like a wandering corpse that looks kind of weird. So I always kind of draw them a little weird.
How's that? Is that better?
Much better.
Yes, much better.
Huzzah.
Much better. Can I see the left side more? The
Sure.
part that's not inked? Can you bring that a little closer to the camera? Just trying to get a gotcha. Okay. Cool.
Yeah, again, it's just some zombie mummy type things and some kids there. Again, I'm just trying to think like what would Bernie Ryson do? What would That's all I've been doing for a while is just ripping off like House of Mystery.
Yeah, but
Blatantly
House of Mystery
ripping
is
off
like good stuff out of the dollar bin.
Exactly. Just rip off Bernie Ryson as much as possible and hope that hope that his estate doesn't sue me.
Oh, Michael DeFonte says, I really like Sleepness. I want to get more when they become available.
Good luck. There may be like some level of a Kickstarter or something at some point.
A Jay Kennedy fan, other than my old man, and as I'll point out, the two people I'm on here with are on the shelf above my dad's desk where his favorite books are, where only one book of mine is, and that's the Wally the Green Monster comic for the Red Sox. But there's like a complete library of Arsenic Lullaby and Jay Kennedy comics on that shelf.
Yeah. That's parents for you. I don't know that my parents own a single copy of my book, so there we are.
All right. All right.
Yeah.
It's just parents.
I've been
he likes what he likes.
For years now.
I actually, for 1 year, I gave my dad the cover of an Arsenic Lullaby issue with Voodoo Joe on the cover. You know where that is? That cover?
In the garage?
I don't know if I want to know.
I don't know. I haven't seen it since. I have not seen it. I have not seen it since he opened it and went, oh, cool, and then put it to the side and opened more presents.
At one time, he wrote a really important list on the back.
Probably. Yeah, maybe.
Has ever gotten past the point in our lives where it's like, oh, he's going to put it on the fridge so everyone can see it?
No.
I don't think I've gotten past that.
He's got a little section in the basement. I thought maybe it would go there. Nope. I haven't seen it anywhere. I helped them clean out the attic last summer. It's not in the attic. It's not anywhere. It's gone. I don't even think. Who knows? Maybe it got thrown out.
Oh,
It's not on any wall in the house. It's not stashed anywhere. It's not in storage. It's just gone.
And is it an unspoken tension that's just forever there, or is it just unspoken?
No, I don't know. I'll bring it up when it's time to put him in a nursing home.
shit.
Yeah, this is a nice looking pamphlet of a pretty nice looking nursing home. But, I was thinking maybe something else.
Maybe something a little cheaper.
There's a nice state-run nursing home where there's only a few convicted felons. And I think you'd like that a little better.
It was not to the level of giving a cover to an award-nominated comic book to my parents, but I remember at one point to another relative, like I'll do hand-drawn cards for people for like, holidays, Mother's Day, birthday, whatever. I'll do a hand drawn card. And I gave one to this relative, and like before I left, that sucker was in the trash.
Wow.
Did they know that you like hand colored it or no?
Oh yeah, it's like, hey, I drew this for you.
Well, even if you hadn't hand drawn it, just throwing a card in the trash while the person's there.
Just wait till I leave.
Yeah, who does that? I don't. I still have. I have like a giant shoebox of cards because I feel bad throwing them out because I don't. What do you do with it? I feel weird throwing out a card.
I kind of agree with.
You're not alone. I
kind
agree.
of. I hate getting Christmas cards. I hate them because it's like, what the hell do I do with this now? Do I just keep them forever?
Yeah. I can't return it. You wrote on it.
Right. Like there's a few cards, like my grandmother's and like a few other cards that I'll keep forever. But like otherwise, it's like, yeah, great. My cousin sent me a card. What the fuck do I do with this?
During the season, we hang them up. Like we'll hang them up on a door jamb or on the fridge. Like we'll just cover it with the Christmas cards or whatever. But
that's a nice idea.
Yeah, we'll hang them up for the season, and then I'll keep the ones that are, whether it's from other cartoonists or just people, just ones that I like, that are more thoughtful than just like, here's a picture of my whole family and my dog, and it's not signed. It's just a mail merge from Microsoft Word.
Oh yeah, those just go right in the garbage. But if somebody wrote like a nice sentiment on there or something, I don't want to I don't throw it out, and I don't know what to do with it. I also don't, and I'm glad less and less people at conventions come up and give me their mini comics and stuff, because I've got giant boxes of those things because I don't want to throw it. It's so awful. It sucks. I would probably hate you, but I don't want to throw out someone else's work,
I feel the same thing, and I have a box of that stuff, and they're always the oddly shaped ones that don't fit right in the box.
Oh, of course. Of course. Yes, weird ass, which I'm sure they thought this is going to stick out more, and it'll be, it does stick out more. Yes, exactly. Thank you.
I don't go out.
I just think it's bad. Is it like bad karma that that's how I feel. It's like I just don't want to. You put all this work. I know how much work probably went into this, and I just would feel so bad. Like look, I think we can decide this here tonight. There's three of us here. What is the duration of time you have to keep one of those books if it is either a person and or a book that you don't like? Like we're going to come up with the hard, fast rule for the industry tonight.
Okay. If it's a person, is it a person you decided you don't like or you didn't like from the beginning?
See, we're getting nuanced here. This is, because obviously if it's a book that you like, you're going to keep it no matter what. Right. I'm not taking that out, but like let's put it into categories. One that you're neutral about liking or disliking, or one that you just dislike. How long do you have to keep those two categories?
Well, to me, Ian, it's less the category than it is what you said earlier. Someone put a lot of work into this and presented it to me.
I know. So it's hard.
So maybe the duration is 1 year after you are sure they've stopped thinking this will ever be their career.
Okay. All right. I like where this is going.
They have moved on again. They have moved on with their life. Therefore, you can move on from holding on to this poor effort at a comic book.
See, that's a thoughtful answer instead of just like, you know what, after 3 years, you're good.
Yeah. I think that is reasonable, wouldn't you say? If
Yeah,
they've given up, there's no sense in you dragging this mini comic book around.
Because I have moved so many of those comics multiple times.
Yeah, every time I move, I'm moving this two giant 25 years, Ian, two giant boxes. I've got mini comics from pre 9/11. Why? Why am I holding on to this?
Because they said, Douglas, you made me want to be a cartoonist. I love your work. Please accept this mini comic as a
Right.
gift.
This person has given up on their dream 2 divorces ago, and I still have this stupid mini comic.
And
box.
again,
This
and again,
box of broken dreams and failed efforts.
but it doesn't matter if you like it, keep it forever. We're not saying you got to get rid of anything you like. It's just if you're neutral about it or you don't like it and that person has given up, then
Doug,
you're free. Then you're free to go.
Yes.
My book. I'm never going to give you one of my books.
I still, speaking of that, I still have a mini comic from gotta be 19, 20 years ago that it's one of the funniest things I've ever read still. So that one isn't in the box of broken dreams. It's just on the shelf somewhere.
See,
every once in a while I run across it and I go, oh man, that's funny. I'm glad he failed. I would not want to have to compete with that guy after he got 10 years better. Whew. He was this good then. Oh, I'm glad he gave up.
Holy shit. Brutal shit ever.
Well, hey, this is a competitive industry. You know, like, I'll help you to a point, but once you start passing me up, I got to put the kibosh on that.
We've got a question from Ryan Santos. What is the humane way to get around this when I want to share? I mean, just ask. Like, hey, would you like to check out this comic book I made? That's what I would say. Because I'm most of the ones that I've gotten, like, I love trades. Like, I love doing trades. I'll always do trades. But these are the ones that they just come up and hand them to you. And sometimes they don't even say hello and walk away.
Yeah, you know, that's a tough thing. If you're going to somebody at the table, you walk up to the table, the expectation from the other side is you are there to buy something. Right. Or you're at least say something nice. Something. So you have to somehow bridge that gap. How about this, gentlemen? Okay, we're laying down the rules. The guidelines here. You have to purchase something at that. You have to purchase something at that booth, and then you may present your book.
Purchase, or if the creator on the other side offers a trade.
No trades. Purchase.
No trades.
No trades. Purchase. Because if that shows that you appreciate their work enough that you are going to value their opinion on your book.
Okay. All right.
Because otherwise you're just handing it to a bunch of randos. So why should I care? Right?
That's a fair point.
You know, hey, go hand it out at the bus station if you don't care about, who's seeing it.
I will tell you, having been at multiple baseball games with giveaways, when they just give it to the crowd, not all of them make it back to their seats.
Most of them get thrown out at the first garbage can past the ticket booth.
Pretty.
How many did we see left in the bathroom, Jay?
Oh, I don't want to think about it. That Wally the Green Monster, I'm still having PTS flashbacks from that goddamn book.
No, I'm thinking about the P. Bruins one. We did that one for the P. Bruins.
That one was cool though. That one at least was a superhero.
It was a fun little book. But when you're giving a comic book to people who didn't ask for one and probably don't read comic books, the results can be mixed.
Well, anything that you just give for free has no value in the minds of the person that you gave it to. Something free. Well, I mean, that's a pretty blanket statement, but in most cases, if it's free, what do they care if they don't have it when they get home? They didn't spend any money.
Cynicism, man.
Ryan's asking about trades. I consider trades absolutely, like because so many times, like people have a book that I'm going to consider buying anyway. Because when I go to a show and if I don't fall flat on my face, I usually buy a few things to read. So, you know, I'm
You
also there
get
to.
much better than I do
What's
at
that?
con. You get much better trades than I do at cons.
I've been very lucky. I've done some good trades. I've even traded artwork. I actually one of the crazy trades that I would say was one of my better trades was I for that Batman TMNT cover I did. I had a prelim that was full sized. It was not the finished original artwork. I traded that to an art dealer for a Mark Silvestri Conan page.
Holy shit.
Nice.
And that's probably one of my best like, oh, you want my artwork? I can trade my artwork for this artwork by someone that people have heard of. And the
Nice.
crazy thing was is I talked to him before the end of that show, and he had said he had already flipped that piece. So like we both made out,
Very good.
even
Hey,
though I
The
still
best
think.
how about as far as trades? How about we take these mini comics that have been given to us in previous shows and we trade for that? Oh, would you like to trade? Here's a mini comic I got in Columbus, Ohio,
In 1997.
1997, vintage, gentlemen. There you go.
I actually have many vintage Columbus, Ohio mini comics in one of those boxes because I was living out there for like high school era. So prime indie mini years, I would say.
Yeah,
I've
and
got
Columbus.
I've got your minis from when it was the well, it wasn't a mini, it was Laughter of the Damned. That was a full size comic.
Yeah,
Um, there was the other guys that were in that book had minis. Um, Tom Sholey, who does like Myth of Eight Opus and a bunch of other stuff, he had minis. Like there's a whole bunch of guys that are around now that did minis back then.
I still think the best mini comic artist I've ever seen was Cat Lemmy.
Oh, she was so
I
great. Yeah.
was fucking good. Oops, so good.
Yeah, she
Like
did a
her,
slice of life comic, but it was smart. It was funny. The art was like she
Perfect.
tailored it for the format she was printing in. So like it read well. And that was something that with minis was like it was always hit or miss. Because sometimes they were drawn on 11 by 17 and shrinking it all the way down.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of mini comics in general. Like once in a while, I'd be like, "Yes, this is great," but Cat Lemmy's work was always
So good.
friggin' so good. It pissed me off how good she actually is because it's like I try to be funny, and she's just naturally funny.
Oh yeah, yeah. And she has like, she's got like a real job and she just kind of does these for fun and they're terrific. So it's like, imagine if she just had if she wanted to just do this. How like if she could just the body of work, like my mind just wonders like because it was anytime she comes out with one, it's clever, it's engaging, so good.
Yeah,
is she local by you, or where is she from?
She's New England based. I'm not
Yeah.
exactly sure where she is these days, but like I think I met her at the pre-Mice show was like a zine fair where it was like all minis and photocopied zines, and I think I met her, and I think I met Dan Mazer, another one of Jay's buddies that helped found the Boston Comics Roundtable there. He's terrific as well. I was just looking at one of his minis out of that box. The other day. It was God, what was the one? It was called The One. It was like a watercolor comic that he printed like 20 of them. And that was it. And it was like his version of like a hero's journey of the Superman mythos. And it was great.
I will say that Cambridge, Boston does have some really good zines with some really good artists working on them. I see outside of that area that the mini comics get a little bit worse, but I'm just talking BS at this point.
That's
No,
like
I think
anything
you're right.
else.
It is a bit of a regional thing. Like I remember Columbus, there were a lot of good lot of good mini comics when I would go to what the hell is the name of that show, Ian?
Mid Ohio Con.
Columbus? Mid Ohio Con. Thank you. When I'd go to Mid Ohio Con, there would always be a lot of quality minis. But then on the West Coast, there'd still be a lot of minis, but they wouldn't be as well crafted, I guess.
Well, when I first started in New England, when Jay dragged me to my first Boston Comic Con, I was, like I said, out of Ohio. And I even said it when I was walking up and down the aisles at the conventions around here, was that I don't know if it's because we had less to do or what, but there were just more people who were in the indie scene in the Midwest at that time. And they weren't just like art students doing it for a semester. It was people that would do it for years, and they would get good and they would continue to get better. Like all the guys that took over the Bongo comics were there forever, like Chris Yambar and who were the other George Broderick and all those guys.
I'm just saying, like, it doesn't cost that much more to do a full-size regular comic.
Now it doesn't. Back in the day,
doesn't. Yeah.
Cost you an arm and a leg, and you had to print 1,000 of them.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, it's a whole different economy now of making a comic book.
Ian, how many people are actually listening to this?
Right now in the room we have 18 people.
Fools! All of you fools!
And I would say that over the course of the show, we've had, we've got our regulars that stick it out, but total we've probably had 170 or so.
Jesus Christ! You've gotten nothing out of this.
I've gotten a lot out of it, actually. I learn from you guys whenever you guys come on. Whenever I get another artist on, I get little nuggets out of it.
This is just telling everyone, don't do your own mini comic. We don't care.
Well, no, I wouldn't say that.
No, you're going too far.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that, but I would say, and I say this to everybody starting out: assume no one knows who you are, and no one gives an F. Just assume that. Assume that going in person and in regards to your book. Assume no one gives a fuck, and it's your job to put something out that's so good that they have to.
And there are many comics that I love. I mean, that I've kept forever. So like, there's not this. I'm excluding the ones that you like. From the discussion we had of the when is it okay?
Yeah. No, like I said, I've got one from Boston. Like I said, 19, 20 years ago. That like I said, I still love it. I read it occasionally, and I'm glad I'm not competing with that guy.
I'm so glad he quit.
Yeah, glad he went on to doing whatever else he's doing now.
I'm gonna point. I keep most of the comics, if not all of them, that I'm given. Regardless, I will slide a mini comic on the side of my long box with all my friggin' Spider-Man comics I've had for 30 years.
Well, and that's what we've been doing for 30 years. So that's why we brought it up in discussion. Like we have giant boxes that we've been moving for years that we feel guilty moving on from.
Yeah, I keep them all. I read almost none of them.
Right.
Maybe if I've read 10% of what I've gotten, that's a lot. Because most of them, you can flip through 3 pages and go, this isn't for me. This isn't doing it for me.
I was given a couple of local comics at the last show I was at, and they were surprisingly pretty good. They were charming. One was about fans and again, like exaggerated slice of life stuff, and I enjoy that. I liked it. You never know and it was at like a Knights of Columbus hall. So just seeing like that is not a place where it's necessarily easy to move a bunch of indie comics that aren't attached to a Funko Pop or something. It's true, like a toy show, basically.
Yeah, unless it's got a NASCAR guy on the cover.
Yeah. Or it's one of those biographical comics of celebrities that seem so popular these days.
Yeah.
I got the Marky Mark bunch still. I'm not
But
getting rid of that shit.
I think if you're wandering around handing your mini comics out to creators, also like know your audience. If you got mini comics, you've got X amount of mini comics with you. Like let's say you got 20 or 30, right? I don't know how many people print up now. But make sure every one of those goes into the hands of somebody who might actually read it. Right?
Hmm.
Like if you go up to my booth and you've got a slice of life comic about your cat, giving it to me is going to get you nowhere. You've just thrown that book in the garbage, which cost you some money to print. So you,
And it's garbage that you're going to move multiple times over the course of your life.
right. You have accomplished nothing other than giving me a chore. But if you've got some weird ass psychedelic or some horror thing, and then you look at my booth and go, yeah, this might be up this guy's alley. So you got to cherry pick a little bit when you have a limited amount of books to hand out.
That's a good
Boy.
point. Inventory.
Yeah. Like even now, I don't like reprinting things. It's a pain in the ass, and it means I lost money. Because I could have just printed an extra 1,000 and the price would have went down on the whole thing. So I know I can sell out of this stuff. So now it's to the point of I want to make sure these are getting into the hands of somebody who's going to tell their friend or genuinely like it. Like at a comic book convention, I know I can sell these because I'm a good salesman, but I want to sell this to somebody where I'm going to get more mileage out of it than just the $10 you gave me today. So I think you should be thinking, everybody should be thinking the same way. I want every single issue to have some legs to it one way or the other. Whether a friend gets told about it or it just definitely sits in their memory so they see me the next time and they want more. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yep.
I don't know. If anyone out there in internet land made a slice of life of your cat, I'm down for it, bro. Hand it right over to my book.
Send it to Jay. Send all the anthropomorphic slice of life books. Send those down to Jay.
Anthropomorphic? No. I want a real cat. I want to see a real cat.
Don't worry. We'll make a comic about my new cat, Jay. That's what we'll do after this pinup. And then we'll print one copy and we'll send it to Doug to put in his box.
I'm gonna give it to Doug by force.
And you'll make it on the heaviest paper possible.
It'll be a weird size that doesn't even fit lengthwise in the box.
Weird size. It'll be hand stitched. Each page will be cardboard so that it's 6 inches thick.
I just feel like Doug and his friends right after this, like, you have no idea how I spent my Wednesday night. These two talking.
Doug knew what he was getting into.
I did this to myself, but I got rid of a bunch of junk. I mean, I gave a bunch of gifts to Ian and to commemorate his.
Oh, I'm gonna have to write on it like a commemorative 100 or something on it. We're gonna have to write what it was for right on the tool, so that every time I take it out to use it, I'm reminded of this great moment.
This has been one hell of a thing, but unfortunately, I'm going to have to get going, boys.
All right. Well, we can wrap it up. So we've been on for long enough, and thank you both for coming for issue 100. If you guys got links to your stuff,
episode 100. Is that it?
Yeah, episode.
It's been an absolute treat. Thank you, everybody who listened to us rant all day about mini zines and hatred for some reason. I'll catch you guys later.
All right, see you, Jay.
Yeah, good talking to you.
Thanks, Douglas. I hope to see everybody next week. 101.
See you.
See you.